Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Stretford Paddock, and welcome to the news. A couple of technical difficulties this morning, but nothing that we can't manage here at Stretford Paddock. We are live with the latest Manchester United news on game day. Manchester United are playing Granada tonight in the Europa League, 2-0 up. How is everybody feeling ahead of that game? How is everyone feeling? Is it going to be a coasted performance through? Are we going to struggle a bit? Are we going to score loads of goals again? Obviously, it's going to be a slightly rotated team, not looking like Marcus Rashford's going to play. We've also got the suspensions of Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay and Luke Shaw. So, a couple of potential changes for the Manchester United lineup tonight. Anyone nervous about it at all? How's everyone feeling? Get in the comments and let us know. I'll be answering your questions throughout the video, so make sure you will get involved all the way through this morning. But before we go through and start talking about the game tonight, let's talk a little bit about transfers, and let's start with the big breaking news this morning, and that's about Raphael Varane. Now, this story, it kind of broke on Twitter this morning. It's from Jose Alvarez from El Chiquita TV. Not sure I've got that one right, but it's a news channel based in Spain, looking at Barcelona and Valencia stuff. Is the presenter who has said that Raphael Varane's talks are very advanced with Manchester United, and it's looking likely that this could happen. They're not looking like that he's going to sign a new contract with Real Madrid, and it's more and more likely that he will be moving on next summer. Obviously, Raphael Varane, very experienced player. He's got a year left on his contract, I think, starting in this summer. So he's only got around a year left. So Real Madrid not wanting him to go on a free, this could be a potential for him to come in and play for Manchester United. What do you guys think about that? I'd be quite happy with Raphael Varane. I think he ticks all the boxes for the perfect partner for Harry Maguire in terms of his attributes, but also that little bit more experience. We want to step from this team that is a very good team, that's a good team that's is progressing in the league, that is getting to semi-finals of tournaments and things like that. We want Raphael Varane to come in and make us into title winners, challenging for trophies and all that good stuff. So, obviously, Raphael Varane, what do you guys all think? The one big thing about this is that, and I've said this the whole way through, I think there's a possibility here for a swap with Paul Pogba. I think that obviously with Paul Pogba going into a similar kind of situation as Raphael Varane, he's got a year left starting in this summer. Is there a possibility of us doing a swap deal? Both similar, we've got the value there about 63 million for Raphael Varane. Similar kind of numbers for Paul Pogba. But I think both clubs would be expecting the £100 million fee because of how important they are to their teams, how good they are, how experienced they are. So I think that maybe this could be a swap deal. Maybe this could be Varane in, Pogba out. I definitely don't want to see Paul Pogba go. I'd love to see Paul Pogba sign a new extension in the next coming weeks and stay and be a Manchester United player for the foreseeable future. But there is always that thing in the back of our mind that Paul Pogba wants to go. He wants to move on to a different club, and Real Madrid is one of those clubs he's looked at. Obviously, Juventus is up there, but obviously, Raphael Varane, the Real Madrid thing, maybe that fits, because I don't think Juventus have got the kind of players that we could swap with for Paul Pogba, but Real Madrid, this could be a potential deal. If we have to let go of Paul Pogba, if he decides he's not going to sign a new contract, this could be the deal that happens this summer. What would you guys think about that? Would you be happy to see Varane come in and Paul Pogba go? Or would you rather see us just spend the cash, 75 million, 100 million, however much it's going to cost, maybe even 50 million with it going into his last year of his contract for Raphael Varane? Make sure you get in the comments and let me know what you would think of those kind of deals. The next story I have for you this morning, this is a bit of a new name come out, and this is from Sports Witness. This is Joachim Andersen, who's playing for Fulham. Now, the Fulham defender this year has kind of stepped up a little bit, and will remind him in the office. He has been nominated for Player of the Month in the Premier League, and you saw Fulham's slow start to the Premier League. I think you saw a lot of Sky Sports pundits, including Jamie Carragher, say they're nailed on to get relegated. They are going to get relegated, but the last few months they've really, really upped their game, started to become more defensively sound, and that is mainly down to players like Joachim Andersen. Now, he signed from Lyon not too long ago, 24 years old, the value there of 30.5 million. I think we'd need to spend more of around the 30-40 million for him to come in. What would you guys think of this? This is obviously a cheaper option. I think Manchester United obviously would like the bigger centre-halves. We'd like the Varanes of this world, maybe even like the Koulibalys. I think we've all been linked with these kind of players. but we know what the Glazers are like. We know they're not going to spend the money. And I think that what Ollie's doing, he's obviously got his list of these are my top tier targets. These are the ones I want to spend big money on. But if we can't, can we get someone like this in? Can we get someone for 20 million, 30 million pound? That means we can get 3 or 4 players in this summer. I think Joachim Andersen is on that list of players that could potentially come in. Now, full, obviously, maybe Premier League proven as well. That could be one of the reasons why we're going to go for someone like that rather than Raphael Varane, who hasn't played in the Premier League. Very, very different, even though quality football. Now, you compare that. You look at Thiago coming in this year. Everyone thought he was going to be a hit. He's going to be a world-class footballer. The pace of the Premier League, the systems and things like that, just not quite fit. And I think that, signing players for anywhere else in the world is always that possibility. Let's have a look at your comments around that. I don't really rate this guy unless Eric Bailly leaves means we are short of defenders. That's from Ross Murphy. I kind of agree, is that I think that what we need is, I think Eric Bailly, Tuanzebe, Lindelof are very, very good squad players and are very good football. Lindelof's been very, very good this year. I think that what we need, if we are going to spend money on a centre-back, is we need a first choice, a starter, a better player, someone to come in and go, do you know what, maybe Harry Maguire is the second choice. You look what City have done this year, in this last year. You look 18 months, 2 years ago, they signed Laporte and everyone goes, he's their main man. He's the main man. They need to sign a partner for him. All of a sudden, Ruben Diaz gets signed, and now he's the second, third choice centre-half for Manchester City. Maybe that's what we need to do, almost in terms of Harry Maguire, where he's signed, captain of Manchester United. He is now our first choice. He's the first name on the team sheet. But do we need to go over and above? Do we need to sign someone that's going to go, do you know what? No, I'm going to be the main man. I'm going to be the first name on the team sheet, someone like Varane, and say, look, I am that one. Or are we looking at a partner? Are we looking at someone we can develop? Joachim Andersen is one of the names on that list. Now, the final story I've got for you this morning, this, again, not the most reliable source. This is from is Emilio Martinez from Aston Villa. Now, goalkeepers is going to be the big talking point all the way through the summer. It already has been in terms of who's our number one at the minute. Is it De Gea? Is it Dean Henderson? I was on socials on Tuesday. There was a lot of talk. I put out saying, look, Dean Henderson starts against Spurs. De Gea starting against Granada. It almost feels like the roles have now reversed for those two players. One playing in the Europa League, the other playing in the Premier League. Do you think that we've decided on that? And if we do end up letting De Gea go, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be angry about that. I know there's a lot of people not too happy about the fact that De Gea, club legend, might be moved on. But we need to take, if someone comes in for us and pays the money for David De Gea this summer, maybe we need to do it. Emilio Martinez is a potential for this money. And this article has talked about, are we going to go in for a big bid for Emilio Martinez? Are we going to throw a lot of cash at him? Now, the other question is, would Martinez want to come and do that? He obviously left Arsenal last year, having been on the subs bench all the way through and not really been a starter. He moved to Aston Villa, and there's some people that say he's potentially been the best goalkeeper in the league this season. Now, that's not just the fantasy Premier League stuff. I've spoken to a lot of people around the coaching stuff that says, look, he might be the best all-round goalkeeper in the league. He's a very, very good shot stopper. He's very good with his feet. He commands his box as good as most. All the other top goalkeepers, you look at Ederson and Alisson, they have their limitations in terms of coming and claiming crosses. You look at David De Gea, fantastic shot stopper, not quite as good with his feet. Same with Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson distribution is a bit better. Maybe he's not the best shot stopper. Do we look at someone like Emilio Martinez, who could come in and be our second choice? We're going to lose Sergio Romero this summer. If that's nailed on, he's leaving. We're also potentially going to lose someone like David De Gea. We need at least another goalkeeper. And Emilio Martinez, for me, he'd be very high up on that list if we could get him at a good price. It's whether or not he'd be willing to come to Manchester United and be a bit part player, be a second choice goalkeeper, wants to do that again, or does he want to be a number one in the Premier League? I wouldn't blame him either way. But for me, I would love to see Martinez at Manchester United. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. If he was our backup, I think he'd be a very, very, very good backup. And I think in terms of taking the pressure off, there's been a lot of people saying, Dean Henderson, is he our number one? We don't want to get in a position where we've decided he's our number one, sold David De Gea, and we've got a lot of pressure on him, and he's really, really pressured into, if he makes a mistake, who do we bring in? We've not got anyone else. We're bringing Lee Grant in to play. If you had someone like Martinez there who could say, do you know what? If you don't do it, I'll come and step in, and I'll be your number one for a bit if need be. And I think it would be a very good signing for Manchester United. I think that the goalkeeper situation is going to be a strange one this summer. We're going to see in the next few weeks how it kind of develops, whether Ollie has decided Dean Henderson's his number one or whether it's going to be David De Gea. But the big thing is, are we going to get rid of David De Gea this summer? Or is he going to come and compete for his spot as a number two? There's all the talk about him with his newborn baby, his wife living in Spain. Does he want to move back there? Does he want to live there? She obviously doesn't want to live in the UK. This is going to be a big thing. If he goes, do we bring in another number two? Or even, do we look to bring in a number one to compete with Dean Henderson? It's a really good conversation for this summer. Let's have a look at some of your comments then around that one. Bring back Sam Johnson. I'd love that. Sam Johnson's had a great season for West Brom. It's tough to kind of look at those players when they are towards the bottom of the table, and you look at stats, they've conceded loads of goals. But when you concede the amount of shots that Sam Johnson's had, he's done very, very well. Sam Johnson, I wouldn't mind him coming back to Manchester United as a second choice. Let's have a look what else we have this morning. Martinez spent, not a first choice goalkeeper, so I don't think he would drop to a number two again. I completely agree with that, whether he would do that, but I like him as a goalkeeper. I think I'd have him either way. Why would you stop one of the world's best for someone who's never been in the top 50 goalkeepers? Look, the thing with David De Gea is everyone's saying, doubting his quality and doubting how good he is as a goalkeeper is wrong. He's a fantastic goalkeeper, but what you have to look at for Manchester United is not the short-term thing. It's not who's going to be your goalkeeper in the next 6 months. It's who's going to be your goalkeeper for the next 10 years. You don't want to be in a situation. We got very lucky with David De Gea replacing Edwin van der Sar, where De Gea came in, replaced van der Sar, done. People are very quick to forget what happened when we lost Peter Schmeichel. Peter Schmeichel left suddenly in '99, kind of left us with it. We had no good goalkeeper. We had no one. We had Raymond van der Hausen, very good second choice, not a starter. We had the Bosniches of this world that didn't quite work out. We had Taibbi that didn't work out. We had Tim Howard that wasn't quite right. We tried all these goalkeepers, and it took us 5 or 6, 7 years until Edwin van der Sar came in. We went, do you know what? We've got a goalkeeper now. We need that player, and that's what it is. I'm happy with Dean Henderson stepping in, but at the same time, the pressure of being a Manchester United goalkeeper, no one else can describe. And I think that having a very, very good number two, someone's mentioned in the comment, Anders Lindegaard, who's comfortable of stepping in, may not be at that top level. I think that's going to be a big thing. And I think that if we do end up letting De Gea go, which if we can get some cash and we can release that big contract, I don't think it's the worst thing. We'll need to find a very good number two. I don't think that's going to be Sergio Romero. So maybe Martinez is the one. Maybe we'll look at someone like Sam Johnson, but we will wait and see. Let's have a quick look at a few more of your comments. Ross Murphy, I give Dean Henderson a full season number one next season and see what happens. Again, we can't. The problem with Manchester United is we want to do this as a long-term project, but we obviously need results right now. So I don't think that's going to be the case. We can't really risk things, and if Ollie doesn't think it's a risk for Dean Henderson, let's go for it. But at the same time, it might be a little bit of a risk to not have a very good number two in the background. Let's have a look what else. Swisher says, we need a dominant, decisive defender with game intelligence to play next to Harry Maguire. Varane is too tentative. Who do you think then? Who do you think is going to come in and do that job? Are you happy with what we've got at the minute in terms of Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly? Do you think Tuanzebe can step up? For me, do you know what? Centre-back for me isn't even a priority. I still think a midfielder changes a lot of things. I think if you got Declan Rice in there as a number 6, I think that would change a lot of things. I think that having someone... You've seen how good Manchester United are when Nemanja Matic is on top form, when he can kind of win a few headers and things like that and kind of drop in. I think that someone like Declan Rice, who almost plays as like a third centre-back, but is a little bit more progressive, plays well in midfield, I think having him come in would make a very big thing. Thank you very much for the super chat from Tristan. When the COVID BS is done, Stretford Paddock need to do a lads trip to Australia. We're looking at all sorts. We want to get out and about. Let's see where pre-season is this season. Obviously, the news yesterday of Manchester United looking at buying an Australian team. maybe that could lead us over to Australia. Thank you very much, Tristan, for the super chat this morning. Let's have a quick look at a few more of your comments this morning. Remember when Lindegaard said he wasn't at United to pick his nose? I think he was with that one. He absolutely got moved on very, very quickly. Consort or Anderson would really improve our team, and they ain't even that expensive. I completely agree that maybe what we need to do is look at these lower down teams, look at the lower down teams of the Premier League, maybe the ones that get relegated. Maybe that's where Anderson fits in. If Fulham get relegated, get someone for the 25 million pound mark, leaves us more funds to spend on the more expensive players, on the attackers, on the Jadon Sanchos of this world, maybe on the Erling Haalands. I think that what United need to do is we need 3 or 4 players, and I think that we can't go out and sign 400 million pound players. We need to sign a couple of bargains in there as well. Last comment, Caribbean Game, Ramos covers Varane's slack during matches and he seems lost at times without him. Speaking of Real Madrid, how good was it to see Liverpool go out last night, having a good laugh at Liverpool? So if you've not laughed at Liverpool fan this morning, make sure you head over to Twitter and do that this morning. It is good to see Liverpool knocked out of the Champions League. But that is all from me this morning. We have got all the build-up to the Granada game today, so make sure you are subscribed to Stretford Paddock. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out when we are live. One more super chat before we go. Trev Star, Varane would be a great signing, but Sancho, Rice and Grealish have 2 main targets. 2 out of 3 would move the team even forward. Pogba has to sign. I'd be very, very happy with those signings this summer if we can get those in. Let us know. Make sure you are liking the video. Like I've said, we'll be here with all the build-up to the Manchester United game against Granada tonight. We'll be live at 6:30 p.m. So make sure you're subscribed, hitting that notification bell, and I will see you later on. Cheers for watching.